So, hi, Chris, and thank you very much for your time today.
Hi, Miglena. So it's super nice to be here.
And of course, thank you very much for being part of the first Empowerment Day in Austria. And of course, being a bit partner in crime for the organization and the preparation. I really appreciate your support in that.
Yeah, it's fun and also nice to see the whole team being so open to AI and just jumping into it and using it already.
Yes. And I mean, I guess you remember that I had this question mark when I
Mhm.
initiated the say, should we include AI or shouldn't we? And
Mhm.
of course, it's obvious AI is part of our life, and it would be interesting to understand. So, which is the best way to use it in order to empower us? So, and
Mhm.
that's why we're here today to also have this conversation a bit around the AI. And I will start immediately with this question. If you had 30 seconds to explain why AI belongs at the first Empowerment Day in Austria, what would you say?
So I thought about this already during our preparation. Empowerment means giving people the capacity to act, right, with a clear intention and then really do things. And AI is the most powerful capacity amplifier that we ever invented. It's intelligence as a commodity, so people can really break down ideas, create plans, talk through blockers, identify opportunities, and have this new weird thing that helps them throughout the whole journey of doing whatever. And it's it's really a new technology. The only condition is that people need to understand it and become AI literate.
So, if I understand correctly, there's also some kind of a reshaping of the empowerment with the AI. So, it's a also different way than we
Mhm.
are used to so far. So, what would you say is one example that people will instantly recognize from their daily work, this AI empowerment?
Mm. So when we empower board members and company leaders, one experience we want to provide is that they have a first conversation with an AI and we tell them, look, do this. Hey AI, I have the following problem. This one market is not growing. Our marketing is not working. We cannot hire young people. Whatever the most important problem right now is, please AI interview me about that problem. Ask me one question at a time until you have enough informations and then give me ideas. And the actual magic happens only after that. Yeah, I don't like the first idea. Give me another one, another one, another one. Wow, idea number 7. That is genius. I really resonate with that. How do we do this? So it's a problem solving machine. That's the first technology that you can just throw in your problems, your context, your situation, and it can generate solutions for you. And then it's on us to evaluate them. Does that make sense? Does that fit to the situation? Does that fit to my values, to everything I want? And that is super empowering. That is just the feeling of having this in a very smart way at your fingertips, in your pocket, in your smartphone. That gives people a feeling of, I have every kind of consultant I could wish for on my smartphone.
And you having already experience with supporting leaders, as you mentioned. So, I'm
Mhm.
curious, what would you say is the biggest illusion that leaders have about AI right now?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Leaders that do not understand this technology are the biggest blocker for organizations to integrate AI. And the biggest illusions leaders have is this is a tool. I give that thing to my IT department. I create a task force, they should handle it. They delegate it away. That is the first thing we do when we work with leaders. And last year we've done over 100 executive empowerments. So we do this very often. The first most important thing is to shift their perspective. This is not a software, not a tool, not a a new version of your search engine, just a bit smarter, but it's a foundational technology. It's infrastructure. It's the same category like electricity, internet, mobile communication, and many more foundational technology. So you do not have a choice but use it, and it will change your business in virtually every aspect. So you also need to have first-hand experience that you cannot delegate it away. The logic is simple. AI is changing every aspect of a company. Every. We work with pharmacies, with consulting companies, with industry holdings, with insurances. Every aspect is influenced by AI integration. So if that's true, the people that have formal power over the whole company need also to be responsible for this topic. And for that, they need to understand AI. So it's not a tool, it's infrastructure, new technology. It's the next layer of technology that humanity will now start building solutions on top. And it will be integrated into all our lives. It is in WhatsApp, right? The blue circle in WhatsApp, that's Llama, Meta's AI. You have no choice. It's in there, right? It's part of every smartphone operating system. You have no choice. It's part of every new computer. The next coffee machine you will buy will have an opinion on your coffee consumption. So it's just, that is the most important and the biggest illusion. Oh, that's a new tool. I let the people handle it that handle it always. It's just buying a new software. We solved AI.
Interesting. And I would like to stay in this. So the reality at the moment for the leaders to touch another topic. Recent global studies says that only worldwide, only around 20% of the employees are really engaged in their work. And we also have a very interesting result for Austria. In Austria, it's even 9% of the people are really engaged and motivated in their job. So, and I'm really curious. So, how does AI impact this issue? So, I mean, is it possible to solve it, or it can make it even worse?
Both. So AI is like an amplifier, right? It's just technology. And the answer is always, it depends. If you drop AI into a disengaged organization without changing anything else, you will probably get faster disengagement. The people will use AI to automate their job, and then they will just have a relaxed time. They will mentally check out of what's going on in the organization. Disengagement it's not a magic pill, right? The AI, hey, here you go, and it solves all your company issues. But if you use AI a little bit as a mirror, maybe to surface where people are stuck, what part of the work feels really meaningless to them, which soul-sucking stuff do they need to do that's super boring, and free them to move their work to more meaningful work that requires judgment, creativity, where AI becomes an co-intelligence and amplifies what they can do and how they can impact things, then it's changing. Then it's like a technology that can free up so much energy. But integrating AI into an organization is not a technical challenge. It's a transformative challenge. So it's change management, it's leadership. The tech part is super duper easy. Everything's solved with data security, with everything is solved there. It's just, you can start today, and then it's about, how do we do this? How do we change habit? How do we check our own processes and workflow, and not just use the same thing we did now for 10 years and just put AI into it, but rethink AI first. What does it mean now? How do we build it now? And then the best compliment we get was the first client, with the first big client we won 4 years ago almost, said after like 6 weeks into the AI integration, Chris, it's so cool. It does feel like a startup here again. Everybody is busy and it's like everybody runs around and look what I've done and look what's happening here. That's the spirit, but it does not happen automatically. It needs all the, like 80% is change management, taking it as a transformation, leadership involvement, clear intentions.
And having these examples and this experience, so what would you say when it comes to AI integration in the company? So where does the machine empowerment start and end, and where the human empowerment start and end? So how is this the best combination from your experience?
It's a difficult question because it's moving very quickly. So let me just think out loud. If what AI does first, it's empowering speed and scale, I'd say. You can process, summarize, generate, pattern match better than every human. You can create contracts, terms and conditions if you are a lawyer, better than a human. Analyze data, get out insights better than a human. So that there's a lot of empowerment start is in the actual like core parts of the work. But human empowerment starts when it comes to intent, for example, right? What do we actually want to do and why? And why is that meaningful? And deciding which things do matter for our market, our client, right? Humans do the part where we navigate ambiguity, where we have plenty of in the world, right? And we take decisions. This is our attitude towards this. That's our perspective. We rather do it that way and not that way. Humans are good in understanding human things like organizational culture and politics and reading the room. And humans are super necessary to govern also the whole how AI is integrated. Where do humans need to take part? We all say human in the loop is still a big mantra, right? You integrate AI into a workflow. Where is the human in the loop? At which point does the human make the decision? Because AI should not make decisions. Not yet, at least. Maybe another perspective is you cannot compete with the AI, right? It's just faster, better. One example that irritates people a lot is this: the empirical research is very clear. AI is perceived as much more empathic than humans. So more empathic than psychologists, coaches, priests, rabbis, social workers. Everybody loses against AI in terms of how empathic was this answer. When people have calls and they do not realize it's an AI model, which by now 90% do not realize. They love the conversation. It was best conversation I ever had with my insurance, with my coach, right? So there are parts where you just cannot compete. And you shouldn't. You should just see where's the part of the human. What does that free for me, right? Which part can I now do more? So it's shifting the scope of what a human can do. And that is very, that is pure empowerment.
Yeah, that's very very interesting. And I was thinking, so from what I noticed, how people now deal with AI, it's that some of them use this as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Some other are really literate, or
Mm-hmm.
they have really literacy
Mm-hmm.
about that. And I know that you are for AI literacy. Being in this topic, so what would you say is the difference between a leader who is using AI as a tool and someone who
Mm.
is really literate?
So using AI as a tool is a bit mechanical. I could also say deterministic. When the last decades when we used software, we all learned when you press a button in Excel, every time the same thing is happening. Right? No surprises. It's 100% deterministic. If Excel calculates something for us, we never check because it's always correct. It does not make mistakes in calculation. We only check, did the human provide the right inputs and the right formulas? So we are very used to this mechanical approach. I know exactly if I do that, then this is happening. And I give away also the responsibility to the tool. That's how we learn to do. If Excel calculates this, it's correct. If people use AI the same way, they lose most of the potential, and it's super dangerous because AI literacy means probably most important that AI literacy means judgment. The responsibility is with you. The AI is a dream machine. It's a generator of ideas. It's pure intelligence, and you can tap it and just say, give me ideas, how to do that, what is this? Can you write this? Write me a poem, a concept, a strategy, write me software. Then it can, at this, doing that, right? The AI is super smart, always appears very confident, everything sounds very plausible. But the next part of AI literacy is to understand it can be confidently wrong. And it's really on you. It depends how you use it. We tell people since 5 months, roughly, that, hey, by now, if the output is not useful or wrong, it is your fault. Right? So it's your fault if the AI does something wrong. The AI is just like a mirror. I sometimes think of it like the magic mirror in fairy tales. Right? You talk into this magic mirror. It's a mirror, so it mirrors also your face, but it talks back. And it really depends how you do it. And that is literacy. How do you communicate with this artificial intelligence, non-human intelligence? This comes really, it's a weird thing because Excel, you could learn by just watching a video, memorizing all the buttons, memorizing all the formula. AI, you cannot learn that way. AI, you can only learn by experiencing it. I tend to say by building a relationship, which freaks people out totally if I say that. But that's a little bit how it feels, right? We push people very, very early. Okay, have a conversation with it. Take out your phone, and we send board members on a walk and talk with ChatGPT and give them a little bit an instruction what to do, and they come back and it's always the same. I didn't know that it's so intelligent. It really understood what is going on, and it actually had a good idea. Yeah, that's AI literacy. I could talk forever now because when we run the AI literacy workshops, AI empowerment, we tell people we need 4 hours, 4 hours for the whole thing to understand to just change the perspective and guide people to this is how you use it.
And I mean, I know from my experience that building the literacy could be really overwhelming because as you yourself, you say, so everything is changing, developing so fast. And my question is, so what would be your advice to someone who somehow feels behind with knowledge and experience with AI? So what is the fastest way to start building the AI literacy? What's
Yeah.
important?
So the last question is easy. The fastest way is buy a frontier model. Do not use the free versions. That's like having an old Nokia flip phone and you think you understand what smartphones are. So buy a real frontier model that is right now ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, or Claude. Today, I would recommend Claude. Buy that and start talking with it. You can ask the model, please interview me about my job and help me integrate you into my work. It will guide you. That is the fastest way of doing that. To the first question you ask, I have an uncomfortable answer. How should people cope with overwhelm and not following up and get used to that? That's my answer. I have permanent FOMO. Every day I go to bed since a year thinking I could have tried this today. And there's this one thing I wanted to build, and there's this new tool I should have tried. And it's nobody is keeping up. Nobody. The deeper you go into the AI world, to the real enthusiasts, the real experts, the more they will tell you, I need a break. Because it's happening so fast. Since roughly 4 months, we have AIs that are significantly improving how we build AIs. So machines build machines, build machines, build machines, faster and smarter and faster and smarter. So We are entering a phase where the pace is unhumanly fast. And the best way to handle this is accept it. In the first part of our workshops, we provoke people. We tell them very bluntly what's going on, how smart, how quick, what are the risks, how many models, how much money goes into that. We provoke intentionally to really show them that's right now what's going on. And then we ask them, how do you feel? And people say, I'm overwhelmed, I'm afraid, I'm very worried. And we honor this fear because we share it. I'm also worried. And actually, doesn't matter to me if you start becoming AI literate and start using it driven by your worry about your children maybe, or society, or driven by the enthusiasm of what's possible now. Usually it's a mixture of both, as long as you start, right? So we want to use the emotions people have and use that as fuel for, okay, jump into AI, use that, start interacting with it. And the rest is just what it is. I'm also overwhelmed. Try to cope with that. Find people, talk with them. Doing this as a team is so much easier. And the last tip, do not go just people always ask, can you give us an overview? What cool tools are out there? Right? Because I don't actually know what I can do with AI. And we say, don't do that. You're going to lose months of your life, right? Because you're going to flow around in the AI universe and you can explore forever because new tools appear faster than you can digest them. So what we say is root yourself into the real world, start with a real problem, and there are AI solutions for that. You can just depend on it. And then I have this concrete problem, and now I search with my frontier model that I just bought for a good AI way to handle this. Was a long answer now.
Yeah, but I had so many questions in my head while you were talking. But I will choose one because, someone who is so involved in
Mhm.
topic and someone who also said, I also have FOMO, I also have fears and, all these feelings and emotions. But as a coach, of course, I'm curious. So when you look ahead, yeah, I don't know, couple of years ahead. So how do you see our future? Where is this going?
I choose to be an optimist. I think that's the smarter perspective on life. If I'm an optimist and right, I had a nice life and I am right, happy end. If I'm an optimist and wrong, I had a nice life and I was wrong. Too bad, but I had a nice life. So I'm an optimist. Thus, I think AI will lead us with a little bit of a bumpy ride into an age of abundance, of a lot of freedom. I truly believe that. It will free us from meaningless work that we just do because we need to survive and pay our bills. And it will unlock so many new opportunities and new things we can do. Humanity is so creative, so adaptive that we will have so much new things to do, unlocked, empowered by AI, that it will be a very exciting age. That's what I really think. That is the future I want to help to build. That's why we do this for companies, for young people, for small companies. And there's risks also involved, right? So the bumpy ride I said in the beginning is our whole systems. Think of schools, education, governments, laws, the structure of society. We are so famously bad in changing that. And the pace now is so high. The velocity, the disruptiveness is so big that this will be uncomfortable and it will be disruptive. And there will be I think, like a transformation, right? It's also always includes fear and uncomfort and sometimes pain, like a birth, right? So you have to go through this and then some beautiful things are happening. That's what I truly believe. The biggest fear I have, maybe just to give this also a different perspective, is my roots are in East Europe, right? So my parents grew up in socialism. And imagining a regime like that having AIs at their hands, we would still have this regime if they would have this technology, right? You can surveil everybody all the time and digest the information in real time and act on it. So that's a fear I have, and this is not does not come from the technology. It comes from people using the technology.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I also had these thoughts as I'm also coming originally from a
Mm-hmm.
country that has this kind of regime.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like your, vision, and I'm in. So
Yeah, that's good.
absolutely in. But you know what? The question that popped up was like it, and it was really great when we manage as humanity, we manage that. My question is, what is really important now, for us to do, or maybe to deal the way we deal with the whole thing so that we can get there?
I will come back to the beginning of our conversation. AI literacy. You need to understand what's going on. You need to experience. The more people understand and experience it and use it, the more people understand what's possible now. Which part of my work can I give to that? What do I need to do? What does that unlock for me? Connecting to the vision of abundance, right? We run this program for young people, and so there are young people telling us, I have a lack of discipline, no motivation, I smoke a lot of weed, I have bad habits, Netflix. We ask them, right, what's blocking you right now in your life? And then we show them, this is what AI can do. This is how you need to use it. You do not consume it, you create with it, right? And what do you want to build? What would be useful? I would need an assistant for my life that just reminds me on stuff, ideally through my smartphone, right? So I just forget things, and then I always behind. Okay, let's build that. And then they start doing that. And after the first hour, they're like, oh my God, I did a real step towards this mission, and the dopamine kicks in, right? And they are like, oh, I want to do the next step. And suddenly they themselves say, I have never, I was never like that. I feel I'm really disciplined. I feel like, look, it's just 1 week into the program, and I built a thing that helps me right now. So um, I think that is a big part of it, right? What is unlocks, and maybe the last part of your question is what I observe is, it's a bit silly to say, but what I observe is the more childish, the more open people are, the more they can just be playful with AI in the beginning, the faster they get the value out of it. The more rigid they are. And those people usually tell me all day long what AI cannot do yet, right? The less value they get out of it. And the people who are a bit open, childish, experiment, they, instead of telling me what it can't do, they think, what can I do now with AI?
Yeah, so always the same confirmation that the beginner's mind is something that really helps us people to learn and to move forward.
Yes.
But when you shared those aha moments that you and your team created for the young people, so the question that popped up in my mind was, what was your moment where AI changed your perspective, or made it a real moment for you?
Yeah, that's easy because I remember it very strongly. So I had many of those moments, but the first one was with GPT-3 before ChatGPT was released. So before the model was there, everybody could access it, but they did not put yet a chat interface on it. So I used AI before that, and it was just, oh my God, how smart is ChatGPT, right? From today's perspective, it was a true idiot. But back then it was revolution. And I said, hey, ChatGPT, I'm just working on my website. I have issues. How do I position myself, right? I'm a consultant. I was in consumer neuroscience. Now I work also as a coach. And I'm a certified holotropic breathwork trainer. And I did this training in how to redesign organizations. And I did Agile Scrum. I cannot write all that on my website. What should I do? And then the moment I remember still today, it was like, Chris, that's easy. Your thing is transformation, either individual or company or teams, right? You want to be in places where deep transformation happening with roller coaster, emotional rides and all that. And it was like, yeah, that's true. That is actually the common ground in here, right? So that is, back then, the AIs were already very strong in seeing patterns in all this, right? And for me, that was like a true coaching session. It was like, oh yeah, I'm a catalyst for transformation. I want to do this for people in breathwork sessions and retreats. I want to do this in teams when we shift how they work into agile scrum things. I want to do this for leaders when I coach. And that was for me a big aha moment of my own. Who am I and what do I want to do?
Wow, that's a story.
Yeah, many people have this actually. When we started, then when I started the company and with my team, what we did is I actually just realized we stopped doing that. We should start that again. We told people, we gave people the instruction of doing the same, right? Have a first date with AI, we called it, and just tell the AI about yourself, like passions, fears, skills, and let it then write like, that's how I see you, right? And I just say we should do that again. It must be even better today.
Yes, I like this advice. So this is could be a great experience. I didn't have such an experience, but now I'm curious to you know to explore that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about advices and practical ideas, so you know that in Empowerment Day we really want to create experience for the
Mm-hmm.
participants. It's it's not this kind of a day where you sit there and listen and talk about the theory, but we want to make it really practical. And I'm really happy that you are part of it, and you will share also with the participants your experience, wisdom. When you think about what you want to do on the Empowerment Day, what would be different then for the participants on the next day when they experience you on the Empowerment Day?
So because we just learned I'm all about transformations, right? So if I have the stage for a specific time, I want to transform how people perceive AI. It's a little bit of a wake up call. So I will be very strict and direct. This is what's going on. This is where we are right now. This is what's going on for coaches. That is the number one use case in the world. Humanity does most often with AI, humanity does coaching stuff. Help me organize my life. Help me find purpose. Be my companion. There's a transformation happening right now for this profession. And I want to open people's eyes, jump into that, understand what's going on. We will show a live coaching session with AI, also to make people think, is that good? Is that bad? And I don't have the answers. I want coaches. I'm not a coach, right? I want coaches. I want the audience, the leaders there, think about exactly those questions. How do I do this? What does it mean for me? How do I become AI literate? And that should be the next day. The next day should be full of this kind of questions regarding their life, their profession, their passions, and how will AI influence me? And that's the start of the journey, right? They're making people curious, waking them up, stirring emotions, because that's what just happening in the world, and making them start their AI journey.
And someone who works a lot with questions, and I know that this creates is of course can create a lot of awareness.
Mm.
As a preparation for those who will join us at the Empowerment Day, what is a question that you would like to ask them and invite them to think about before they join us at the Empowerment Day?
Imagine you have a new colleague. It's not a human. This colleague has a PhD in everything. It is super fast, super smart, can read and write super quick. It can do research, calculation, analysis. It can work 24/7. It's not a human. You just started today, this new colleague. So it needs your guidance, your leadership. You need to steer it and manage it. What would you do? What would you do if this kind of colleague would sit beside you at your desk? If you are a leader, what would you do if every employee in your company has this kind of new colleague? And that is the question I would give to people.
Thank you very much, Chris, for your knowledge, for your experience, that you're sharing this with me today. I am really looking forward to see you, to welcome you to Vienna on the May 6th for our first Empowerment Day, and to also have continued this conversation because it's a great conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was super fun and also looking forward. Can't wait for Vienna. Bye.